Hi everyone, I'm Bethany, the social media and community manager here at Australian Ethical, and today I'm joined by Nick Chadwick, our foundation officer. We're going to talk about our foundation and our community grants. Hi Nick.
Hey Beth, nice to be here.
Thanks for joining us. As many of you will know, we donate 10% of our profit after tax to the Australian Ethical Foundation. And it's a really important part of our business. So Nick, can you tell us a bit about the foundation and what we do with it at Australian Ethical?
Thanks, Beth. Yeah, the foundation's always been a big part of what we do here at Australian Ethical, basically on the principle that we believe it's really important to give back to the community as a business. So most of our members and stakeholders would be familiar with our community grants program, which we've always done, and it's an annual program that we conduct every year. But we also support a lot of organisations through our strategic multi-year grants.
Yeah, and we're also able to respond to emergencies like the bushfire over summer.
That's right, yeah. We were able to give some funding to the bushfire appeal, which was really great. And we've also done a very similar thing with COVID-19. So we've been able to support frontline charities on the direct frontline fighting COVID-19.
Like everything we do at Australian Ethical, the foundation reflects our three focus areas, so positive impact on people, the planet and animals. Nick, how does the strategy reflect these values?
So we realise that there are so many issues in the world, and we're only one foundation that can only have a limited amount of impact, but we've thought through how we can incorporate these core pillars of people, planet and animals, and what underpins them all is a healthy planet to live on. So that is the focus of the foundation, is to address climate change and the climate emergency and the issues that flow from there. So there's a lot of great research out there that we've lent on and learned from to inform how we fund and the actions that we take. So most notably is a piece of research work by Paul Hawkins called Project Drawdown, which outlines a really clear set of solutions, really effective solutions that people and organisations can fund and lean on to address climate change in the most effective way. So we find that a really useful tool in guiding how we work and the kinds of things that we fund.
Yeah, that's great. And what are some of the areas that the foundation focuses on that aligns with these recommendations?
Yeah, so a big one that we focus on, and it's the number one leading set of solutions in Project Drawdown, is educating and empowering women and girls around the world. So education and family planning is really focused around population growth and empowering women to lead their communities, which has been proven to really reduce global emissions around the world. So a lot of our funding and a lot of our grant making goes towards those kinds of initiatives, both overseas and also in Australia.
Yeah, and particularly under our people pillar, that's a big focus.
That is, yeah.
Yeah, and would you mind telling us about the Indigenous Women's Ranger program and the impact that's having?
Yeah, certainly. So we're funding a group up in Arnhem Land. We work with a group called KKT and Mimal Land Management. So we fund some Indigenous Ranger work in Arnhem Land. The program's really great because it generates outcomes for women, for the planet and for animals. Mimal Land Management have 6 core focus areas they work with their rangers on, which includes protection of cultural and sacred sites, native species conservation, meaningful employment for women, and cultural education. And another big part of their work is a fire abatement program. So during the early cool season, our rangers will undertake cool burning to prevent the late season hot bushfires that generate large scale damage and really high emissions. So by doing the early burn off, there's a huge carbon saving that is generated, and those savings are actually packaged up into carbon offset units, which are sold in public markets. And these ranger groups generate a really great revenue stream for their communities and for their work from that program. So it's really great to be able to fund, in this case, a group that is hitting all of our core pillars of people, planet, animals, and having really great outcomes across all of them.
Yeah, it's a great program, and we were actually both fortunate enough to visit it last year.
We were.
I found it really interesting to learn that women hold sacred knowledge of the land, and so it's vital to have them a part of the conservation and taking care of the land to get the full picture of conservation.
Yeah, it was. It was really great to see these empowered communities working on their country, managing their country, generating really great outcomes for their communities. So we were very lucky to get up there and see that in action.
Yeah. And so what about our community grants? That's part of the foundation that our members are probably most familiar with. Can you touch on some of the organisations that we've supported and why we support these organisations?
Yeah, so the community grants program has been around for some time now, and it's really integral to what we do. We offer grants of up to $20,000 annually to any charity in Australia. So we get a whole range of applications through that program, as you can imagine, and it's always a really tough task selecting the winners. But one organisation that does jump to mind is a group called Pollinate Group, who work in both India and Nepal, and they support and train entrepreneurs to sell things like solar lanterns, cook stoves, and other really important goods and items into their communities. So it's about focusing on local women and local suppliers, and also offsetting the carbon footprint of that. So not only are they empowering women by providing them with a livelihood, but they're also delivering these really important products into these communities that are great for human health and sustainability.
Yeah.
Another group that's really great is Seabin. So it's quite literally the bin in the sea. They won a grant last year, and they've been doing some really interesting stuff where they use this technology to put in marinas and waterways to act quite literally like a big bin that sucks down plastics and other debris, which they can then collate and get data from, and also clean out waterways. So that's a really great community group there.
Yeah, it's such an innovative solution, and really great that we can be part of helping solve or mitigate the plastic pollution in the oceans. Can you explain a little bit about why we focus on grassroots organisations like CBIN in our community grants?
Yeah, so we try to complement the community grants program with our strategic grants program. So our community grants program is really focused on grassroots, smaller charities that are really embedded in their communities. We still do a lot of work on a systematic, larger scale funding with larger charities through our strategic grants, but the community grants really is focused on those smaller groups. So essentially, we really want the community grant funding to reach smaller urban and regional communities, and those communities that find it a little harder to access funding. So generally speaking, the groups that apply and the groups that we fund will have a really strong connection with their communities, which means they can better drive engagement and social cohesion. And it fits really nicely with the other kind of strategic large scale things that we fund.
Yeah. Nick, it's been so great chatting to you and hearing about the impact the foundation is having. Thank you so much.
Thanks, Beth. It's always fun trying to explain it and covering the great stuff that we do.
So voting is actually open right now for our 2020 community grant recipients. So if you want, you can jump on our website and choose the organisations you'd like to see us support. Thank you, Nick.
No worries. Thanks for having me.